Hey, what's up everyone? TJ here. We're out in Aspen, Colorado this week testing some park boards in collaboration with Snowboard Magazine. And today we're taking a look at the Arbor Westmark Camber. In this video, I'm gonna run through the tech you're gonna find in this snowboard and share some feedback on how it's feeling out here on snow. Let's check it out. All right, it's been an interesting first day out here at Aspen. Snowed about 4 inches overnight is what they claimed. We were finding stashes like 6 or 7 inches around the mountain. Had a bit of a powder park day out here on the Westmark Camber. And real quick, before I jump into the tech in this snowboard for reference, I'm 5'10", I weigh around 155 pounds, and I'm riding this snowboard in a 153. So this is gonna be a freestyle and all mountain focused board on the Arbor lineup. It is a true twin and it runs their system camber profile. So it has a parabolic camber. It's full camber from contact point to contact point, gonna come through with that traditional camber feel, but it's a parabolic camber. So it's heaviest between the feet and then starts to get a little bit mellower as you get out to those contact points. You're also gonna find their Grip Tech side cut built into this snowboard, as well as I think every board on the Arbor lineup. That's gonna be a couple of added contact points placed right under your feet. It's very noticeable, adds a lot of extra grip on more firm, variable conditions placed right under your feet, and gives a much more confident feel in those situations where otherwise you might be slipping out a little bit. The other cool thing about the system camber is their uprise fenders. So right at the main contact points in the tip and the tail, the base and edge is beveled up slightly, just 3 degrees, making the board much more catch-free when you're flat base, and just makes it a little bit more forgiving so it's not hooking up, but still coming through with that traditional camber feel. Other than that, you're also gonna find an ash wood top sheet. It's gonna act as a power ply, helping to give the board a little bit more energy and offer some dampening benefits as well. And a sintered base, which is a higher end base material known to be harder, faster, and more durable compared to an extruded base. And that's it for a quick tech breakdown on the Westmark Camber. Let's jump into how this board felt out here today, ripping around Aspen. All right, let's start off talking about the flex. I'd say you're gonna find a solid and versatile mid flex out of this snowboard. And even though this is a true twin freestyle focused board on the Arbor lineup, it's gonna have the stability to back you up for more all mountain resort exploring as well. If you're a more intermediate rider, this thing's gonna have plenty of stability anywhere that you take it on the resort. And if you're more experienced, I wouldn't say this is a board that you're gonna find the limits of easily. It does have a pretty powerful feel to it overall, but does leave a little bit of room for some pressability and playfulness in the overall feel as well. It's not overbearingly aggressive in my opinion. You are gonna find some good energy in this snowboard as well, with that full tip to tail positive camber profile, as well as that wooden power ply top sheet. This board comes through with some nice pop. It gives you that traditional camber feel that you'd expect. And anytime you do get this board loaded up, it's gonna snap back and give you that extra boost when you need it. You do have to fight against that camber profile and that mid flex to press this snowboard, which is gonna make doing flat ground tricks a little bit more challenging to find those balance points. But one thing I do really like about this board is the uprise fenders for that kind of stuff. So you can lean into the tips a little bit more confidently, knowing that those contact points aren't gonna be quite as catchy, making those butter tricks a little bit more fun and maybe a little bit easier for progression if you're working on that kind of stuff. And when it comes to park laps, this board's gonna have a very versatile feel to it. Obviously, being a true twin, it's gonna have that balanced, symmetrical feel, riding both regular and switch like you want. Has the stability to step up to larger features, start hitting bigger jumps, and really take that progression to the higher levels. It's not gonna be washy, even on slightly unbalanced landings on those larger features, but isn't so aggressive that it feels weird on jibs or smaller features. It's gonna be a little bit more challenging to get taller presses out of this thing. It's gonna make you work for it a little bit more. But on the positive side on the jibs, it does feel good on larger features. You know this board's gonna have your back. And if you like doing blunts or kind of locking into those rail tricks a little bit outside of the binding, you're gonna be able to hang on to that without the board flexing out. So overall, very versatile, but definitely a little bit of a more advanced snowboard, it's not going to be the best choice for learning the basic fundamentals. But once you start building up that bag of tricks and you're looking for something to progress with, this can be a solid one. I also want to quickly call out the flip tips you're going to find in the nose and tail. So that slightly turned up shape of the base and edge right there on the tips. So if you do find a more creative feature where you're jamming into the feature or jamming into the snow, or maybe you see some kind of transition around that just requires a little bit of a more vertical approach, and give you a little bit more confidence knowing there's less of a chance that that's going to dig into the snow or the feature. I also want to talk about the carving experience at the Westmark Camber. At a 153, you're going to find a 25.4 centimeter waist, so pretty average, as well as a bit of a longer side cut, so smoother, more drawn out turns that's going to feel comfortable even as you get up to higher speeds or on the approach to larger features where you're coming in pretty hot. But I would say some of the more dominant things you're going to feel out of this snowboard when you're out there carving is that full traditional camber feel. It does come through with that more powerful, locked in, precise feel that you'd expect, as well as the grip tech. I think that's something that's very noticeable. It is noticeable on like average conditions, but particularly when it gets a little bit more firm and icy out there, just isolates that grip right under your feet and kind of gives you that extra confidence that you need in those conditions, knowing that you're not going to wash out even if you do lose that main contact point because of a bump in the snow or something like that. With that true camber combined with the mid flex, both lengthwise and torsionally, this board's going to stand up to exploring even in choppier conditions without having a washy feel. It's going to be able to power through some chunder, and it's not a board that I noticed any chatter in either, even as you started to get it up to those higher speeds and let it loose a little bit. One last thing I want to note here is the uprise fenders. Full traditional camber boards are known to have a little bit of a hooky feel right at the contact points when they're flat base, and the uprise fenders eliminates that without compromising that locked in, more precise feel once it's on edge. So this board is pretty versatile when it comes to carving, has some nice all mountain benefits without making any compromises when it comes to that freestyle feel they were going for, both in and out of the park. Overall, the Westmark Camber is a fairly powerful and very versatile snowboard that comes through with that traditional camber feel. And the biggest highlight for me is really the feeling that you get with the camber system. So that combo of the full camber with the grip tech and the uprise fenders to mellow it out flat base. It's not something that you see super common out there on the market. So probably gonna be better suited for more intermediate to advanced and experienced riders that are looking for like a do-it-all twin that's going to be versatile in the park and has some all-mountain aspects built into the design as well. So if you're looking for something like that, consider the Arbor Westmark Camber. This board does come in a reverse camber version as well, if that's your preference. If you want to check this snowboard out in more detail, I'm going to have it linked down in the description below this video, as well as a link to the latest issue of Snowboard Magazine. So please make sure to go check that out. Drop any questions you have for me down in the comments, and if you got some value out of this video, please make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you for watching today, and we'll see you in a new review next time.